Hello and welcome back to another episode of What the Heck. Today we are going to be talking about functions and modules. So what are functions or modules? Imagine you're doing some practice questions on math. You need to use the same logic and approach to calculate and solve these math questions, but with slightly different numbers each time. If you understand the logic and approach well, you can program them into functions, which can help us calculate and show us the results. Formally, functions are a handy way to isolate a particular part of your program's functionality and make it reusable. Now imagine if you're doing a math exam on addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and all the other stuff. You can make a function for each of the calculations and group all the functions together to make a module. Formally, modules are a way to collect a number of helpful functions in one file, which you can then use into multiple projects and share with other programmers. In fact, the calculators that you use when you're doing math questions are simply a module that contains all the functions for the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and others. Many of the technologies that we use incorporate these functions and modules. Okay, first we'll look into functions. We can create a function to do anything we want in any programming language we want. Although the way of defining a function might slightly differ in different languages, they all follow a general idea. For the purpose of our video, we will be referring to the functions in Python. Functions are defined in Python using a function definition, and the parts of a function consist of the keyword def, which is short for define, followed by the name of your function. The name of your function can be any valid Python identifier. If you're making a function for addition, you can call it add, addition, add for me, and so on, as long as you don't name your function in a way that Python doesn't allow, such as using a number at the beginning of the name. A pair of parentheses after the function name, which is a list of parameters to the function. Parameters are sometimes called arguments, are the things you need to provide your function for it to work. If you want to add two numbers, say 1 and 3, then you will need to put two different numbers in your parameters so that your function knows what numbers to add. A colon after the parentheses. The colon in this step tells Python that, okay, starting from the next line, these are the things that will be part of this function. Potentially, some Python statements. These statements will be executed when your function is called. These statements can be anything that can help you complete the task. For example, if you want to add two numbers together, then you'll need to use the addition operator in Python with the two parameters that you supplied in your function. This will then let Python know to add those two numbers together. And the keyword return, followed by an expression. This expression is what the function will evaluate to when it's called. In an example of your addition function, you might want to save the results of the addition into a new variable, and then ask Python to give you the result by returning the variable. Now we are going to see certain examples of how functions are coded in our demonstration. We will be coding a regular program without using function first, and then code it with a function to see the way functions are appropriately used. We will be writing this program using the concepts of string concatenation, which we learned in our previous string methods video. In a normal program, we would link two strings like this: A equals hello, B equals world, C equals A plus B, and then we'll want to print C. As we can see, it'll print hello world in the output screen. Now let's write this code for more than one pair of words. C equals beautiful, D equals everyone, and then we'll have E equal A and B, which is hello and world, F equal A and D, which is hello and everyone, and G will equal C plus B, which is beautiful world. And now we'll print E, F, and G. As can be seen, we have to rewrite the concatenation part of the code repeatedly. Instead, we can write a function with the concatenation part only once, and then invoke or call it whenever we require, like this. So we'll define the concat string by string 1 and string 2. Then the final string will equal string 1 plus string 2. And then we'll ask to return the final string. We'll put down what A through D is, which is A to hello, B to world, C to beautiful, and D to everyone. And then we'll ask for it to print the concat string of A and B, which is hello world, of C and B, which is beautiful world, and of A and D, which is hello everyone. In this case, our function concat string is having two parameters, string 1 and string 2, which are passed into the function whenever the function is called with some specific values. Inside the print statement, we can see that concat string is called with the strings hello and world at first. Then we call concat string using beautiful world, and lastly, hello everyone. We can see that output result as follows. This makes the process easier and more streamlined as we see that a particular part of the program's functionality was isolated and reused repeatedly using the function call. What happens if there are no parameters passed to the function? Then the current code will crash, as we can see. But we can fix this by adding something called default values. Default values are exactly what they claim to be. They are basic or fake values to be used in case the user forgets to call the function using the desired type of values. Here is an example of coding the above program with the default values in place. We define the concat string as string 1 equals Tom Ann and string 2 equals Jerry. Then the final string will equal string 1 plus string 2. And then we ask for it to return the final string. We have A equal hello, B equal world, and then we'll ask it to print the concat string, and our output would be Tom and Jerry. Now that we've seen how a function is made, let's assume that this function will be useful when we are writing a different program that has a similar purpose, or that it will be useful for a friend of yours. We can group the functions that we made into modules and reuse them by ourselves or our friends. As mentioned, modules are a handy way of keeping related functions together so that you can easily reuse them between projects or share them with other programmers. A module is a separate program file in the folder that we are currently coding in or want to use the functions with. It has a .py extension. Now we will be making a new module and be putting our new functions and a few other built-in functions there. Let's first start by creating a new file in Repl.it. And here I am calling it stringmodule.py, since I'll have some string operations in it and it is a module. Do remember to always name your modules, variables, and functions meaningfully. Now we define a few things in the new module file we just made. So we'll define concat string, string 1 equals apple, string 2 equals oranges, and then the final string will equal string 1 plus string 2. Then we'll ask for it to return the final string. We define cat string twice as string 1 equals apple, and string 2 equals oranges. And then we'll return string 1 plus string 2 plus string 1 plus string 2. We call these packages in our main.py file using import and from. So we go back to our main file and we start coding. We type from string module import concat string. From string module import cat string twice. Then we write A equals hello and B equals world. Then we ask for it to print concat string A and B and print cat string twice. The output that comes out is hello world and apple oranges, apple oranges. Notice that if you try to run this file, nothing happens. That's because the module doesn't actually do anything. There's no code in there that operates on standard input or prints something to the screen. We simply told Python to take the function from the string module and have it ready for us to use, but we didn't actually ask Python to use it on anything. Now that we've learned how functions and modules work, don't forget to check out the challenges where you can use what you learned today to solve some fun problems. That's all for this episode. Be sure to like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next episode.